Hello, everybody. With immense pleasure, I welcome you all to the week 3 of DevToberfest Tooling Tuesdays. As we all know, DevToberfest is an exciting contest where you learn about the emerging SAP technologies, go beyond the buzz and hype, roll up your sleeves, and get to work with hands on tutorials. Take part in fun events and earn points. Listen up. The top 10 winners will be awarded a grand prize of an all expense covered trip to 2026 ticket location. Hope you are ready for this. My name is Rekha DR, developer advocate at SAP and host for this session. Use Gen AI in process automation to adapt hundreds of templates to your needs. It's time to welcome our guest speakers, Rashmi Mavinakere and Ajay Nayak. Rashmi is a senior product manager for SAP Build. Rashmi builds SAP Build based pre-built content and helps customers adopt them by providing guidance and support in case of issues. With her knowledge of SAP S/4HANA, she tries to build effective end-to-end business scenarios. She enjoys singing and traveling. Ajay Nayak is a senior product manager, SAP Build Experience Content Factory. Ajay helps build accelerator content for SAP Build by coordinating between customers, partners, and internal LOBs to come up with real world use cases that solve business problems or accelerate processes. He also supports customers with adoption and consumption of pre built content. He enjoys scuba diving, long drives, and gardening in his free time. I will now hand over to the speakers for the topic presentation. Over to you, Rashmi and Ajay.
Hello, I'm Rashmi. Let's take a glance at today's agenda. So we're going to look at the scenario that we are going to take for hands-on. We are also going to look at the prerequisites and the configuration required for the hands-on. We are going to look at the action projects and finally the hands-on itself. So we are going to take an existing content out of our rich 600 plus content which are published in the SAP store. So the one we are choosing today is Purchase Requisition Header Approval. The existing template in the store has a request form where the requester has to fill in the form, and then once he submits, it starts the process. In the process, a condition check is done where it will check either auto approval is required or there is a need for the manual approval. If it is an auto approval, then the approval is done and the creation happens in SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud. For the manual approval, once the approver either approves or rejects, the process continues. If the approval is done, then the order purchase requisition is created in the Purchase Requisition SAP S/4HANA system, or if it is rejected, an email notification is sent and the process is completed. Let's see how we are going to extend this with the GenAI capabilities. Instead of a purchase requisition form, we are going to introduce a Joule trigger where the requester can talk to Joule in a natural language and communicate what has to be added into the purchase requisition. We are also introducing intermediate messaging event. In this case, it will go to integration suite and check for the stock availability of the material. This is one of the latest features of SAP Build Process Automation. We then have introduced a script task powered by GenAI where the scripting is done without you having to write the code. Later on, based on the condition, again there is an auto approval or a manual approval in place. For the manual approval, we will introduce a decision before the manual approval to decide who should be the approver. This is again done via the GenAI capabilities. Once the approval is done, it again follows the natural path. It will go into SAP S/4HANA and creates the purchase requisition. Let's look at the prerequisites and the configuration required for today's hands-on. The prerequisites are SAP Build Default and Joule licensing in the tenant so that Joule Studio can be made use of. For the configuration, we have to create a couple of destinations, SAP S/4HANA public cloud destination so that we connect to the backend, and integration suite destination, which is required for the intermediate messaging events. Action projects are also used for connecting to the backend systems. Here, purchase requisition action project is used. Also, material availability check action project is used, which will connect to the integration suite. Let's move to the hands-on session. This is the tenant, SAP Build Process Automation tenant, where the Joule Studio is enabled. Now, let's discover the content from the store. We will look for purchase requisition based content. So we have as much as 21 content pertaining to purchase requisition. But today we are going to choose a sample content here and add it to the tenant. I'll name it Devtober. The content gets added to the tenant and the lobby automatically opens. So as you can see here, the sample content already has an approval form and a request form. Let's look into the approval form. This is a basic approval and it really does not tailor to my organizational need. So I have decided to enhance this approval, or rather create a new approval form using the GenAI. So I click on the generate button and create a form so that I can make use of GenAI feature. After giving the prompt on how my form should look like, what are the fields that are really required in the form, and what exactly is the format and so on, I click on OK. So this is a finance approval specific form that I would like to create. So you can see the heading as finance approval. This was also provided in the prompt. Also, the fields now, I would like to have it in a table format, and hence I had given this detail in my prompt and it is generated accordingly. All of these fields are read-only mode. That means an approver can just view them but cannot edit them. Of course, there is an approve and reject button along with the comment section, which is editable, and the approver can use this to comment. Coming back to the overview section, let's create a decision as well. The sample content did not have a way to determine the approver. Now we are defining a rule table in order to say that if an amount is less than certain value, then one approver has to approve it, or if it is more than certain value, another approver has to do it. For that, we have to initially create the input and output parameters. The output that I want is approver email ID. The type should be a string. Now let's generate a rule. And we enter a prompt saying create a rule table for approver determination. The condition I have given here is if the amount is less than or equal to 70,000 euros, then it should be finance manager 1 who should be approving. And if it is greater than 70,000 euros, then it should be finance manager 2 who should be approving. After having reviewed, let's click on the go button so that the rule table gets generated. You can see here, as per my prompt, the rule table is generated. Click on Save. Then we go on to the overview section again. Let's open the process and make use of this approval form as well as decision in the process. You can see that in the process, there is a request form, but we want to create a Joule trigger. So let's delete this, add an API trigger, and now create some input and output parameters. So there is already input variables that are mentioned here, but it differs from the way I want to design this particular thing right now. So let me see what I can keep and what I have to add further. So description remains, whereas quantity also remains as a number, and then there is plant, that is also okay. Material is a string, only we will delete certain fields which are not required and add our own. Having defined all the input variables, let's click on apply. And our input variables are changed. I also want to define a custom variable. So let's define that. Which is of the type number. Let's save this. Okay, now we will move on to the approval branch. Since we had added a different approval form as well as decision, let's do the changes and incorporate them into the process. Finance approval was the approval form that we had added. So let's add this. And before this, we will also add a decision. Approver decision was the artifact that we had created. So now let's map the inputs. So let's map all the inputs from the process inputs. Description. This is material, plant. Price will be a custom variable in this case. Purchasing group, quantity. And we will see this. We will also add notifications once the approval is either approved or rejected. Before this, we can also add the required actions as a dependency so that we can use them in the process. So the existing action project is of the sample ones. Maybe I do not want to use this, but use a different action project. Hence, I will add another action project. Now I go back to the process. And utilize this action project once the approval is done. A destination variable has to be created. In this case, it is S4. And we will again map all the inputs. price is again a custom variable, which is in group and quantity. We will save this. Coming to the notification, let me recreate the notification here. It's an email notification I would like to send. So let me name this step accordingly. So this is a success notification once a purchase requisition is created. This has to be sent to the requester. Let us compose the email body. From the action, you can pull the purchase requisition number. You can compose the email body however you would like to and save this. Now, moving on to the notification once it is rejected. Again to the requester. And we'll compose the mail body. And then say apply and save it. So with this, we have designed what should happen if there is an approver determination that needs to happen. And once approved, what should be the actions? And if rejected, what should be the actions? And then the process ends. In order to look into this part where there is auto approval as well as IME and the other artifacts, I would like to hand over to my colleague Ajay.
Okay. Thank you, Rashmi, for handing it over. Now we will go into the process and enhance it further with the flavor of integration suite to perform a material availability check in the backend for my PR creation, followed by an intermediate messaging event to wait for that callback from integration suite. And then we will create a script task followed by a Joule skill on top of this to call this whole process. So now I will add an action here, which is a call to integration suite. Okay, it's locked by Rashmi. So this is the action call to the integration suite backend. I will add some inputs here. So we have to provide the environment key here. We will have a callback URL, which we will come back to after we deploy this process. We have an execution ID, which is nothing but your instance ID of the process. We will pass your material number, the plant, and the quantity. So this will perform a material availability check in the backend, and it will return an output and telling you whether the material is available or not at that plant. So we will save this. Next, we will create an intermediate messaging event to wait for that callback from integration suite. So we will say wait for an API call, and we will create this. Wait for integration suite callback. And we will also create the same outputs that is available over here. So we want the result saying that material is available or not. And we will pass this as the output here. So if you noticed earlier in our Joule skill inputs, the PR price is mentioned as a text file. But in our API call to create the PR, we need the price as a number. So I am now going to create a script task to convert this string to a number. I will open the editor. So we can see we have some default code here, which we don't need. And now I will generate a script task for this, given this prompt. So I've mentioned write a line of Java code that takes the value of the PR price, which is a string, and converts it to a number and assigns it to the custom variable which Rashmi created earlier, which is of type number. So now GenAI will create this line of code for us. And we can either accept or create it. So we can view it and verify if this is the expected code and this is the output we're looking for, and it looks okay. So I will accept this. So I will save this now. Next, we will come to our conditions and we will edit the conditions for the PR creation. So as Rashmi showed earlier, the left side is for the approver determination for a manual approval. So I will edit this condition editor. Using the condition editor, I will add a check saying that if material is available in the backend and if the quantity is greater than a certain number. So if the quantity is greater than, let's say, 1,000, it should go for a manual approval. I will also add another branch saying that if material is not available, what should happen? So we again add the material availability check flag to false. So this means that a material is not available and it comes to another branch. And as a default branch, we will have an automatic approval. So if both of these conditions are not met, it comes for an automatic approval. So in the case of material not available, we can only notify the requester via email saying that the material is not available in the plant. So we send an email to them saying that you can add a message body for this. So you can write an email to the requester. So we can say your purchase requisition for material input material could not be created due to insufficient quantity of this much and in plant this much. So this material was not available for the requested quantity in the plant. And I click on apply and save. Now for the notification for auto approval, it's a similar process. Since there is no manual intervention, we will again send an email notification to this. Notification approval subject is PR created. add the body. So your purchase requisition has been approved with this quantity and this. So after this, we will again have an API call to create the purchase requisition, and we will pass the relevant inputs. So we will add a destination variable here for your S/4HANA callback. We will have our input binding here for a single input. So we will pass the company code, the material, the plant, the price, the purchasing group, and the quantity. Finally, we will add the description as well, and we will save this. So now our auto approval branch is taken care of. Our rejection branch is taken care of. Sorry, our material not available branch is taken care of. And Rashmi has already enhanced this side of the thing. Now, for our integration suite call, we will have to create a destination variable for integration suite. We have already mapped our inputs. The only thing missing is a callback URL now. So we can give a dummy URL temporarily. We can release and deploy this project to get the callback URL. There is an error here. Let us go to our console and see what errors are available. So it looks like this output is not connected anywhere. We need to go to the end of the process once this is done. So we have connected the end of the process. You can see that the error has also gone now. We have only a few warnings. That's fine. We can release this project. And let us deploy it to our environment to generate the callback URL for integration suite. We will select our destination. So we have an integration suite destination for runtime, and we have an S/4HANA destination for our backend. So we will deploy this to the environment. So deployment is successful. We will now go to control tower and to our environment. We'll go to our DevTober environment, go to the trigger section here. And you'll see a bunch of triggers. So we have created this trigger and we need the callback URL for this. So we go to view and we take this URL out. So we've copied this URL now. We go back to our project. We go back to the process in an editable mode. And we add this callback URL to the action project. Now we can again release this and publish it so that we can consume it via Joule. We don't need to redeploy it at this point. Yeah, I will redeploy it, upgrade it. So while this is happening, we can now go back to our lobby and create a Joule skill for this. And we're going to create a skill. We can give the same name, create a purchase requisition. And over here, we are going to call the process. So if it has deployed, we can come back to the lobby and publish this process now. So the latest deployed version, we publish to library. And after that, it will be available in our Joule skill to consume. So we go here and we say run process. We search for the process that we are looking for. Sorry. So this is the one that Rashmi had created earlier. We will add this to the Joule skill. And we will pass the inputs from our Joule skill. So first we have to add a few parameters for inputs and outputs. We will add company code, make it a mandatory field. We will add the description for the PR, also mandatory. The material. This is the PR price. The purchasing group. And finally, the quantity for the PR. So these become our Joule skill inputs. I will save this, come back to our process over here and pass these as inputs for the process. So our skill inputs become inputs for the process. I will map them one by one. I will apply a formula here for the quantity since the process expects it as a number variable, but Joule skills takes it as a string. So I will use a function to convert string to number, and I will pass the quantity here. So now you can see that it accepts this expression, and I will click save. After this, we will add a success message as a response from Joule telling us that the process was called and the PR creation approval process is ongoing. So I'll add a message here. and I will add a text. So I can change the type of button to a success, indicating that the process was triggered successfully, and click save. So this is the end of our Joule skill. I will save this, and finally we will deploy this Joule skill to the environment as well. So it has picked up the destinations automatically for integration suite runtime and for S/4HANA. And the deployment is taking place. Okay, so now that we have deployed the project, we will go back to our control tower and environment and launch Joule once again. So let us start a new conversation with Joule. And I give the required prompts. And the inputs required to create the purchase requisition. We will come into the monitoring section now and take a look at the process that was triggered. And we can see the process is running and the material availability check has been completed. The string has been converted to number in the custom string. It has reached our condition where we've checked on quantity and material availability, and it has gone for an approver determination now. So it has created a task for the approver who was determined, and that was me. So if I go to my inbox now, I will have a task waiting for me for my approval. And I can give a comment and approve it. And if we go back to our monitoring section again, we can see that the PR creation has been completed successfully after the approval. And if I go to my inbox, I should have received an email with the purchase requisition number in it. So I can take this purchase requisition number and we come to our S/4HANA system. I can give the purchase requisition number here and do a search for it. And we can see that it has created the PR in the backend system as well. Yeah, so you can see that it has taken the same material quantity and the price and created a purchase requisition, which is in an approved state. So that ends our demo, and we hope we found this useful. Back to you, Rekha.
Thank you, Rashmi and Ajay, for showing us the purchase requisition approval process end-to-end demo using GenAI and Store with pre-built capabilities. It's interesting how the embedded AI can understand our natural language prompts and facilitates quicker and easier creation of artifacts in SAP Build Process Automation. Consuming process from Joule skill and triggering it with Joule Copilot is really fascinating. Thank you, everybody, for being with us till the end. I hope you have found this session helpful. Before we let you go, I quickly like to remind you that at the end of the day, we will release a session tutorial to test your understanding and knowledge of the sessions. It will be having 5 questions based on all the 5 sessions of today and carries 1,200 points. Do take it up, earn points, and elevate in the DevToberfest game board. Wish you all a great time ahead. Thank you.